Hello and welcome to the Navy Blue Corner. I'm Ian, joined as always by my good mate Lockie, and we are here to build up our round 6 clash against the Saints. And Lockie, last week was obviously bad, but we have to move on. We have to look forward. And honestly, I think St Kilda is the perfect test after our Adelaide loss. It's a chance to kind of rectify the performance, to make adjustments, see how much we've learned so we can judge, I guess, where we're at right now. Because I think St Kilda kind of play in a very similar way to Adelaide with their kind of outside dominance. I'm kind of keen to see how it goes. But look, we'll get into all the analysis throughout this episode. Lockie, I have to hit you up with this. You've had a week to kind of recover, like myself, like all the other baggers out there. I'd love to know how you're feeling about Carlton and how you're feeling about everything going into our clash with the Saints this Sunday.
Well, inevitably, I feel a bit better than I did on our last record.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Things got, I don't know, what would you say? Emotional. We were fired up.
Passionate.
Passionate. That's good. We don't always get that way, but it was nice. It's a good little weekly therapy when there's a loss, which is rare nowadays. So I'm feeling a bit better, but I think thinking about this game, you're going to be carrying us today, mate. I have no idea what we're going to get. It's another one of those 50-point win, 50-point loss. Wouldn't be shocked either way. I just don't know what we're going to get. So I'm optimistic. I'm keen to get down there with you. Should be good. How you feeling?
Yeah, obviously a little bit better. I think I'm very similar to you. Just all the questions are still there. We don't know, and I just want more footy. I wish there could be more games of footy, just so I could figure out what's going on with this club, and hopefully we get a few more answers in a positive way this week with a response. So we'll perfectly segue into the first part of this, which is, what do you want to see from this game, Lockie? Obviously, I'm looking at my run sheet, what I've written down here, and it feels like I'm writing the same things week in, week out. But if you could put a couple down and let me know, that would be perfect. What are the little things that you want to see so we can look back in our review and go, yep, that's a tick?
I love how you've worked this into the show, the kind of the predictions and then the reflections, like the yin and the yang. It's good.
It's good, and it leaves less work for me to write the run sheet. So that's what it's all about here. I'm trying to set myself up so it's just less things I have to do. It's all about that laziness from my part.
I appreciate that. And it keeps us accountable. We can't just be throwing these takes out there and not running them back. So there might be a bit of overlap with what I'm thinking and you. I hope that's kind of our brand. What are the things that I want us to be talking about? Offensive game plan. It's like, there it was. There was something that we were trying to execute as we went forward, went inside 50 and that kind of thing. Isn't that to me, that's like the first step towards a win?
No, like our transition work hasn't been great this season. I think we've had it in glimpses, like third quarter against North. I think at times throughout that Geelong game, it was there. Third quarter, somewhat against GWS, even though we didn't put it on the scoreboard. I think we're moving the ball at times, but it just hasn't been there consistently. And last week it let us down. That delivery inside 50 has just been an issue. And I think if we can kind of see a bit more of obviously what Vossi wants, and whether that's down to him, whether it's down to the players, it's a big question we just don't know the answer to. If we can just find out a bit more about what's the game plan, what are we trying to do, and how can we look like a finals team, like a top 4 team, I think that is definitely one that is on everyone's list. And I'll go through my easy one here. It's the simple one that kind of goes into part with that, which is I just want the midfield to come to play, please. I think we've been calling this one out for a few weeks now. The contested side of our game has dropped off quite a bit. The clearance dominance hasn't been there, which if you look at the positive of that, we've found other ways to score when that's been down, which was the thing that everyone was talking about last season. Like, they're just a clearance side. They've got nothing else. And now we kind of have a few more strings, but we've lost the thing that we've been so good at. And I think looking at last week and how that Adelaide loss came to be, when you weren't getting your hands on the football first, you weren't getting that territory game, and then you're fumbly and whatnot. Other team takes it away, and look what happens. And St Kilda, knowing that they play so well on the outside, if our midfield doesn't come to play, if we're not hands on the footy first, there's going to be some issues. And so I'm just hoping there's a response from those guys, because it's leaders. It's Cripper, Hewitt, Kennedy. Walsh was good, but it's a collective, and we need all those guys to step up, and hopefully we can get a bit of a response. And I'm hopeful as well that Those guys clearly would have been disappointed. So come on, show us that you care.
Oh, and that's one that maybe I shouldn't be, but I feel confident in. Like, can you imagine that group dishing up what they did last week, that midfield group? That just seems insane. Imagine the response if that's what we get. I just can't say it.
Yeah. 100%. Do you have any other things that you really want to see from this game? Whether it's a player that you're hoping for a bit of a breakout performance or anything of that ilk?
I think this is more something that I'm just kind of watchful of. We've finally got like our midfield mix back and all the guys that we want to be in there. And then you look at our back line, and I saw someone say it's like this feels like the key defender crisis of 2022.
Oh, no.
And now it's the halfback crisis. Like, I just couldn't imagine, like, at the end of last year, someone saying, well, you're going to be without Williams and Boyd. It's like, okay, like, they're important, but they're kind of just around the fringes. And Doherty and Sard aren't going to be playing.
Wow. It's all of them.
Yeah. It's just going to be interesting to see what we get. And the team changes didn't exactly give me a whole lot of hope that we're going to get a good result there. So it's just a wait and see. Another, Nick Newman, your man. He's
got to do it all now.
He's going to be captaining the smalls down there.
No, it's a tough one, and I'm keen for that little segue into some opposition analysis, knowing how their forward line stacks up and how we can try to quell that. Because, knowing that transition's been an issue for us when you lose so much key personnel. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but sometimes you've just got to talk about facts, and the facts are that some of our best ball movers aren't there, and with Gov back in, hopefully that will solve some issues, knowing that he likes to move the ball quickly
back in.
and get us going. But losing, Doherty, Sard now, like, that's your run and carry. And teams just don't have that much depth in those positions where you lose, three of your best ball movers out of there. And then you don't have Boyd as well, who'd be your next in. Like, who else are you bringing in at this stage? It makes having to move the magnets around difficult. And when you start to do that, then you start to move Cherrod and Kennedy down there. And that's your midfield that's not firing, and just so many different facets of this game and team. It hurts you, but you've just got to move on. You've got to find other ways to do it. And so I'm excited to see what levers we can pull. And the test for Vossi and this coaching group and the playing group is to adjust to this and do something different. And through the adversity, find ways to do it and find ways to win. They're the testaments of a good side. And now you got the response as well from last week. Everything's kind of building on this. So it's going to be an interesting clash come Sunday for sure. Another one, which I think I spoke about this last week. So maybe I'm just reading from the same run sheet at this stage, but it's intensity and pressure from the jump. I want the first time that ball is bounced. I don't want us to be going 5-10 minutes into this game thinking, oh, well, they respond at quarter time. Like, St. Kilda have got us here at the start again. Like, how many weeks in a row can this happen, particularly after this game against Adelaide? You'd think that we're going to be up and about. And I want to see it. I want to see some clearance dominance. I want to see some hard tackles early. Someone set the tone. That will just get me up and about.
Set the tone.
It's the way to do it these days. And I think that's one of my number one things is just first bounce. Shit, the boys are here to play. Because if they're not, we could be in trouble.
It's feeling like a bit of a trend at the moment. It does feel. I feel like it's been in this segment every single week. The intensity from the start. Will this be the week that we get it? Let's hope.
It's going to stay there until they show it. Like these, maybe that's it. We have to keep these things in there and mention them every single week until they get it sorted, and then it's off the list.
That's fair. Oh well, this one's been there. I think all season. I'm calling out a player.
Oh,
I want to see a big Harry bag.
Yeah.
I need to see this man, Marvel Stadium, just put a bag together. He hasn't done it this season yet.
North Melbourne game. Come on. That was a bag.
How many did he kick against North?
Oh, surely it was like 5 or something. I'll get the stats up. But Harry went big against North.
Oh, no.
You are ready to start a segment. You've been pitching it to me, telling me that, you're going to be putting me under the pump with some on-the-spot trivia, and now
I've got you.
He kicked 4, mate. He kicked 4 goals, 1. That's not bad.
Oh, he did too.
He would have kicked more. He kicked one on the full running into the goals. He missed another one with a right foot snap. Is 4 enough to be a bag? Surely.
Yeah,
Harry's
look,
out.
I'll live with that. I was looking at the total goals that each of our players have
Yeah.
kicked this season, and I was like, how is that so low? So it's because he hasn't shown up in the other games. Look, okay. Look, I'll let that live, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for one of our key forwards to take this game because they didn't do it last week. Not that we gave them the right opportunities, but my God, we need one of them to fire to get the win here because we're not getting the goals from our mids at all. And we're not getting a whole lot from our smalls. So please, one of you do this for us.
Yeah, I'd almost like to even like add on to yours there, talking about Harry and maybe pivoting away from him just having to kick a lot of goals. But can I just go a game with Harry where there isn't just one glaring moment where I just hands in head go, what did I just see from that big man? Like he does so many good things, but there's always one moment of madness from Harry. And I'm just hoping this week there isn't that because he's kicked 10 and we don't have to worry about it. My last, what I want to see from this game is probably finally something different. It is, can Tim Membry just not kill us this year?
Oh,
That's what I want to see.
Too.
We need to stop this man. I'm sick of him coming out and looking like the greatest player that's ever laced boots on an AFL ground every time he plays against Carlton. Just surely he's come in for this. It's his grand final. He knows it. That's why he's timed his injury return for this clash. Someone make sure that this man does not touch the pill. Please. I pray.
Who do you reckon Stocker's going to play on?
Oh, that's a big question.
It's a weird.
I still don't know what Liam Stocker is. I'm surprised he even starts in their team, to be honest, as a little drive-by to that man. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it'll matter, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. I'm just interested to see what we get there. What the vibes are going to be like. But you're spot on about Tim.
I think I'd love to see Durden on him. I reckon that'd be fiery.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Well, I've got one more little one, which will segue us into the listener questions. So question here from Shane Davis. Very interesting question. Is TDK showing any development at all?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oof. I mean, look, the rucks is a big issue currently, and I'm not sure either are showing a lot. Weirdly, I don't know. I don't have any stats to back this up. I feel as though he's better than last year, fractionally, but there's still...
particularly the first few weeks.
There's still so much more. I don't think that he's getting thrown around as much body-wise, but he's still not dominating the taps. He's still not offering enough around. I don't know. I mean, the rucks are just an issue between the two of them. And it was an interesting, I was seeing some chats on Twitter about it and discussing who should be the ruck and what do we do with the two. And it led to an interesting point talking about the ruck split between them and who has a bit more time actually in those ruck contests, because here we go. I've got some stats for you, and big shout out to @UpTheBaggers on Twitter for throwing this out there, because talking about the center bounce attendances, and last year, the percentage split between them was Pito, and this is when they're playing together, Pito 73.5 and TDK 26.5. So a big difference between those two there. Really, Pito was the dominant man. And our center clearance differential, actually, sorry, I will skip that bit. And then this year, it is Pito 55%, TDK 44%. So it's been a big shift. And maybe that has caused us to not be as good at the clearance work, not as good in the center of the ground. Because when you look at the center clearance differential averages this year, with Pito, we're negative 1.3. Without him, we're negative 4. So he's not necessarily doing that well with it, but without him, it's even worse. And then contested possession differential with Pito is plus 13. Without him, it's negative 13. So clearly, him being in there, even if it's just marginally, we're doing better. And we seem to be doing better last year with him in the higher numbers, being the dominant man. Seems like we're trying to split it a bit more. And maybe that isn't doing well. So it'll be interesting to see if they look to change that up this week to try and fix this dilemma.
I think I enjoy those stats, and I think they paint a good picture. But I'm just wondering, like, Pitt obviously didn't play round one. His game time was decreased over the past few weeks, and he was injured this week. Do you think he was even 100% fit? Like, have we seen 100% Pitt? I just don't think we have. Like, it's so different to the guy that we saw last year when we were like, oh my God, this guy could take over.
I mean, I don't know, because maybe that's a reason why he's on less time in that center bounce and around the ground, because they're trying to do that. I think a part of it just could be trying to get DeConning to learn more and give him more opportunity. And it's a contract year for him. Do we need to play the game of, well, if we want him to stay, we've got to make sure he's got the minutes in there? Like, I don't know what it is. And that's pure speculation from me.
No, it's fair.
I think even when Pitt is in there, I don't feel confident. So I don't know if giving him more of the time is going to solve things, whether he's fit or not. It was funny. Like, I think Paolo put out there that, like, well, we drew when he wasn't playing, and then we lost when he was subbed out. So the only 2 games we haven't won this year have really been without Pito. So maybe he's the magic ingredient. But it's such a tough thing. The rucks is clearly such an issue for us. I don't know if we're going to see it solved this season, but to kind of go into a bit more of the listener's question there, clearly we need more from DeConning in the ruck.
Absolutely.
Around the ground, he does some things, but it's the ruck contest that we're lacking in, and we need to see more development this season from either of them. No questions asked.
Got a good one here from your man, Super Bad. Yes. Now, I have to put my hand up because in the time that we've done this podcast, this is our 4th year, there is one single game that I have not watched. And it was against this dumb team last year when I was overseas. So I don't actually remember this. But last time, Jack Sinclair and Brad Hill killed us off half-back. How do we negate these guys' influence? Or are our small forwards just not influential enough for them to have to worry? Big one from Super Bad.
It's a good one. And I'm not too sure. I wish I could. It feels like we've never really stopped the halfbacks a lot. Even looking at round 1, you just see Daniel Rioli absolutely torch us. And maybe the answer from the coaches, which is why he's still in this team, is Ed Curnow. Maybe they're thinking, well, we'll put him to him, and that will negate the role. I don't love it. I don't love super negating roles. I'd almost rather us try to play our way and hope that if we're using the ball better, entering inside 50, that, well, he's not getting his hands on it because we're stretching the defenders there and our forwards are getting the ball first. All these little things. If we're first to the ball, if we're winning it, then the defenders for St. Kilda aren't there. And I think those kind of go the way of negating this issue of halfbacks killing us. Is when we enter it poorly and they've got space, there's issues. And then it comes back to the work rate of the midfield. They've got to be there to stop that rebound. It kind of goes into everything that we've struggled with throughout the last few years. 100%. And fixing all those little things, I think, does it. Like, matchup wise, I don't know. It's almost trying to make them a bit more accountable. Like, you need, whether it's, Motlop gets onto the leash and unleashed and things like that. That's kind of what I think is the way to do it. The way with Sard, I guess, on like a Stengel, like thinking it of the flip reverse way where Stengel has to now defend. Yeah. Because, oh God, Sard's going ballistic. Doing it the other way, like if we're playing well and the forwards are attacking the ball and creating goal threats, then maybe that makes his job a lot harder. So I don't know. It's a tricky one. I'm keen to see the matchup. And if anyone has any questions, any ideas of how to stop these halfbacks running off us, leave it in the comments. Tweet at us at Navy Blue Corner because I need some more ideas.
I liked your point about the entries because that resonates a lot with the Adelaide game where we're obviously doing these shit entries to like, I don't know, a 5-on-2. And it just presents the perfect opportunity for their halfbacks to get unleashed. So I think that actually plays a big role in it too. We've got a comment here just to back up your point from before from Damien. We need to come out firing in the first quarter and not look back. Love it. I'm backing that in. And then here's a big question here as we transition to the next segment from our man, Adrian Sal. And Adrian... Okay.
Oh, Mr. Scoops. Look at this man. Big detective out there. I can't believe it.
That's true. Yeah. Very good point. And the point I was going to make is next in line for a nickname, I would say, because it's feeling like it's almost a weekly basis now with Sal. So can I leave that with you? Or
I think so. Look, it could be Scoops because I cannot believe what this man has been doing the last few weeks. For anyone on Twitter, I mean, follow this man because I don't know how he's been getting this information, but last week he was giving us the intel that, look, Gov was carrying a bit of an injury throughout the week. He had the shoes, the runners on. He wasn't in the boots doing a bit of a training session. And this week he's got Mitch McGovern, good to go. He's got a photo of Pitt's eye to let us know what it's looking like and how the swelling is and the injury. So, I mean, this man, he's everywhere. He's on the streets. I think we almost need to hire him as a bit of a PI for us to get us the information. And maybe we can use him as an exclusive so he's not out there giving it to any of the other Carlton podcasts because there's so many. We need some kind of leverage, some kind of competitive advantage. Maybe Sal is our man.
We've always said that we need some like a fly on the wall, someone on the inside, and we've found our man. This might be too niche because we enjoy different American sports. But are you familiar with Woj?
Oh, yeah. One of the greats.
His name's Adrian as well. Maybe there's something there.
There's something in that.
Woj, the Adrians. I don't know. The scoops are coming. But his question, do you agree this is a defining match for our season? And I can't wait to hear your answer.
It's difficult because I think I said that I thought the Geelong game, win or loss, was going to be the defining game. And then I was like, oh, yes, we're good at footy. And everything that's preceded that has been abysmal, even though I've got a couple of wins in there. So I'm not too sure. I think that if we see good... This is maybe offensive, and we love that on this.
I can tell. I can tell.
I think if we win,
have a seat.
Then, it is defining because look at this. We've responded. All the issues we've had, the boys have figured it out. But then if we lose, it's like, well, if it is, then, oh, God. And I don't think I want to live in that world. And I don't know. I've been trying to... It kind of segues into a bit of a thought that I had today, trying to research this and be a bit more optimistic. And that's kind of what this build-up show is. It's kind of forget last week, get optimistic. And part of that was looking at the whole build into the season and try to get to where you are. And you don't want to be the team that wins it in April because things are going to change. And looking at other teams and where they've been throughout other seasons and the sentiment around other AFL coaches, it's kind of like get to the bye. Hopefully you've banked enough wins. Hopefully you've learned enough. And then back end of the season, bang, that's where you want to be playing your best football. Obviously, if you're playing bad now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to fix it and be good later in the back half of the season. Because, mate, if that would happen, then the team on the bottom would win the premiership every year. But in saying that, because we've shown little bits and we think we're going to be good, I'm not going to put too much on if we do lose to St. Kilda because you just don't know what could happen after it. And that's the kind of mentality I'm hoping to take where, look, if we can just keep doing something and do enough, and whether that's win this week or whatever it is, and we can start to see some improvement, mate, get to that bye. We've got enough wins. We're still in that finals contention, and hopefully we've learnt the lessons. But I think to rattle and finish this thought off, because I'm all over the place, but it is... I love it. I think that as far as defining, there does still need to be some questions answered from this win or loss, performance good or bad, because there's still so many issues going into this.
Wow, look at the optimism spouting out of you, mate. That's
What's happened? God,
that was uplifting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether this season is like making me jaded or something, but like it feels like every game we've had so far this season in isolation is just its own little entity, and none of it is like connected. So, you know what I mean? I could see us winning this week and us going everything's fixed, and then losing to West Coast the week after, and it's like it's all separate. And so that's my pessimistic take. Is that we could see things in this game and then not see them for the next month. And we could also not see anything in this game that we've been crying out for. And then we all put it all together the next week. It's just the way that it is. And 4 years of us doing this now, no matter how much we are like, okay, we are good or we are shit. You just never know what we're going to get the next week. So I guess that makes it exciting.
And I'm not sure we'll actually be able to, with any confidence, be able to say that we're good until we kind of make finals. Like, even if we get a couple of good wins, you and I, every time we always say, like, how confident really are we going into any game against any opposition? And because we've been so traumatized, because we just don't know, we haven't been that team that top 4 every single year. You don't have that in the bank where you can just think that you're going to show the consistent good football. And this season, almost more than any other, how many good teams lose a game they probably shouldn't? And any team right now can honestly beat anyone, which makes it difficult, which means maybe we shouldn't be jumping to too many conclusions based off things. Maybe matchups sometimes maybe Adelaide matchup just so good against what we're trying to do and it was an off game and next week we do something better against someone else. Like, I don't know. That's my optimism hat on.
Wow.
It can go so many different ways, and that's the difficult thing, and it's why this game against St Kilda, knowing that they play a bit similar to Adelaide on the outside, I want to see if we've learned anything. Please, show me something, because I think we're all needing it. We need that optimism, because you can try to talk it into yourself and get it all, but until you see something, it's hard to truly be optimistic. You need the evidence. You need the substance.
Remind me to play that little snippet back to you as we're leaving the ground on Sunday and you're mouthing off at the Saints fans. And I'm like,
because we've won or lost, because it'll probably happen either way, to be honest.
That's exactly my point. Yeah. That'll wrap that.
Beautiful. Well,
should we talk about the Saints?
Unfortunately, we have to. That's kind of what
you love the Saints.
I know. There's a few of us. Me. I think you were saying it before we started. I know Campy Dempster loves them too. They're just...
We were talking with Robbo about it before North as well. Yeah.
Look, I'll say it right now because who cares? If there's a St Kilda supporter listening to this, well done. I don't know why you are, but like they would be, if I was in control of the AFL, first team gone. I don't care if they beat us by 100 points and they're going, mate, you've done nothing for 20 years, relevant. I hate yous. You're pointless. Get rid of them. But at the moment, credit to the Saints under Ross the boss. They're in form. They're confident. And I think that's something to maybe kind of worry about a little bit at the moment, is that we're coming into this questioning everything. Is the midfield shit? Do we have to trade everyone out? What's going on? Well, they're sitting back thinking, mate, everything's gravy. We did just lose to Collingwood, but gee, the effort was there. We almost got them. They'd be up and about regardless. And they'd be confident knowing how well organized they are under Ross, and that, they're making the most out of their injuries. We're talking about ours, but the Saints have been riddled with them themselves. There's kind of almost no excuses to talk about things like that, knowing what they're able to do and looking at the things to watch out for right now. And it's kind of what I've been saying. They're a little bit like Adelaide in that they're really good on the outside and outside of clearances. Their sort of post-clearance work is really good. And I've been scouring the stats, everything out there to try and find a few. And St Kilda are currently ranked 3rd for contested possession wins in general play. So they're kind of, their weakness is that they're 10th for contested possessions win at clearance. So kind of like Adelaide, they're not a team that necessarily wins all the clearances, but it's what they do after that. And their contested possession on their ground balls, all that kind of stuff is very, very high, which means... What's our weakness, Lockie? When we don't win it out of the middle, we struggle to keep going after that. That's kind of their bread and butter, which is the kind of issue for this. We saw the perfect example last week. So what can we do? Because that contested possession in general play after the clearance, that's the vital one, because normally that's further away from the stoppage. You're out in space. It's those critical contests where if you win that, you're in the clear. It's an inside 50, or you're transitioning the ball away from the danger area. So they're really good at that, being 3rd. And their run and spread is just very similar. We've got players to watch out for because their personnel on the outside can hurt you. And that's kind of what they've been doing with, Jack Steele and a few guys being out. They've had to play this dynamic ball game. And I think that is an area to look out for.
Wow. I'm glad you've done your homework, mate, because look, I haven't watched a whole lot of the Saints this year because, as we said, not my favorite.
Why would you want
to? But yeah, a similar style to Adelaide. Wow, that sounds good.
and what maybe is something that's a little bit different from Adelaide, but maybe more concerning. So sorry, this is the bleak part of it. It's almost where we put out.
Glad you got that optimism.
Saints halos on, mate. And we're here to be. No, I hated that. I hate St Kilda. But they do have some really good key defenders, because Callum Wilkie is in like all Australian form at the moment. Josh Battle is quite good as well. which means it's going to be a bit harder than maybe it was against a team like an Adelaide, against teams that we've maybe played this season. For Harry and Charlie, what can they do down there? Because if our entry inside 50 is as bad as it was last week, or as bad as it's been at patches this season, we're in trouble, because those guys can sort of deal with it a lot better than guys we've come up against. So it needs to be better. And at the moment, St Kilda is ranked number 1 at preventing shots in their opponent's forward 50. So in their defense, they're the best at it. They have at 34.7%, I think, is like per inside 50 preventing the shot. We kind of rank 4th, which is insane to think about, at 41.6. So, mate, it's insane to see what's going on as far as the conversions inside 50 and what we're able to do, considering we're 4th, they're 1st. Bit of a battle at the top of the table there, which kind of makes me positive in a way that our defense is holding up. Then theirs is as well. So our forwards have got to be doing well, is all I'm saying. So that transition, all the things that are bad at the moment, they're going to make it tough for us. So, we've just got to bring our A game. What do you sort of make of that?
I'm really finding it hard to gauge. Normally I can gauge from you how you're feeling about an opposition in the game. And I'm really not. I don't know if you're feeling confident or optimistic or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure I know, because it's that I think St Kilda are playing good football, and I'm very concerned that if we don't bring all those little things, that we're absolutely gone and it's going to be 100-point belting. But equally, I do think that we are good enough, and that there are enough elements out there that if we actually play our best football, that this is a win for us. And it goes back to just the stupid little things that we keep saying. Like, that top end talent is there. Everything else happens and system goes for us. We can get it done. And I just, for as good as they're playing, I still am not convinced. And maybe this is just my anti-St Kilda bias, but I'm not sure that when everyone else is fit and firing in the AFL, that they're going to hold on, because they did this last year. They were really hot at the start of the season, fell off, but maybe that's where Ross the boss is going to change things for them. But as I'm kind of saying, that their injuries have had to make them a little bit creative. No King. Now they've got no Caminiti, who is their 3rd highest goal kicker at the moment with 7 goals. In doing that, their smalls are doing the damage. This is kind of what we have to look out for. At the moment, their leading goal kicker is Jack Higgins with 12, Machito Owens with 8, and then you look at the others, Butler and Gresham have both got 5. Got Membry back in this week, so that's another one of those dynamic forwards to look out for. Mateus Philippou, another one, he's a bit taller, but he's a bit more of a mid forward. He's kicked 6, so they've got quite a lot of their small kind of players throughout there doing a lot of their damage, knowing that they have to stretch the field. They've got to move it quick, get it in, because they don't have the tools to do the damage. And the moment their tools, Zane Cordy, who's kicked 4, Tom Campbell, a bit more of a ruckman, and Rowan Marshall, they're kind of the tools that are there. So maybe the introduction of a Tom Campbell will mean that Rowan Marshall gets a bit more of a forward split to do some damage, knowing Caminiti's not there. It's going to be interesting to see their matchup, but that's kind of where, for me, our midfield's got to do a lot of the damage, and they have to step up, because they've got Jack Steele back in. If we don't win it from there and they're able to stream out and the pressure is not there for the inside 50 of St Kilda delivering it in, then we may struggle, knowing that they have so many dangerous, potent smalls that they like to get up the ground, they like to move. That's kind of another danger area. But knowing defense is good for us, maybe this is an area that we could carve it up. Knowing they're not that tall, Mitch McGovern, intercept City.
Oh, wow, mate. You're firing me up, I'll be honest. I can't believe we have to wait another 4 days for this, because now I'm ready for it.
It's funny, because I feel like I'm just saying, like, this is how St Kilda are going to absolutely dominate us, because we're shit at this. And you're like, mate, how good is this? We're going to win by 100 points.
No, you're giving me the confidence. Trust.
Yeah. Well, look, the last thing I'll say about St Kilda before we get into talking about selection, the team changes, and then how Carlton are going to come out and win. The Carlton Scarves will be back on. But the players to look out for, really, apart from everyone I've named, kind of already talked about him a little bit, but it's Jack Sinclair and maybe your Brad Hill. The pace and rebounds, these guys are good users of the football. It's how they're going to carve us up on the outside. So we've got to stop that run in the ways we alluded to earlier. And the other one who's playing good footy at the moment is Mason Wood on the wing. Bit of a taller battler out there. So he's someone that can take a mark. We need to quail his influence a little bit, but he's in red hot form. So just another one to look out for.
Oh, God, this is just not a like a group of players that we would have been worried about a month ago, is
No,
it?
not at
You're
all.
calling out Mason Wood for me. Oh,
Mate, this is the thing.
great.
If you'd watch St Kilda, you'd actually be like, oh, this guy's actually not bad
No,
at
I
football.
know.
Whereas a year ago,
Yeah.
you're like, this guy, Jesus, he's a dud. But he's actually in this Ross system. What's he do? He gets the best out of poor players. Raf Clark might be wanting to get a comeback the way he's going at the moment. Maybe Xavier.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was at the Saints Bombers game and I was watching Mason and I was like,
Blockbuster
okay,
clash.
Mason's doing a bit. Yeah. And look, they did look good. So I'll put the respect on them. But we'll get up.
But our wingers,
Let's look at the changes.
Our wingers have been a good point for us this season, so I am excited to see how that goes. But let's get into the team changes. I'd love to get your thoughts, Lockie, because we are recording this on Thursday night. We do not know the 100% changes, but we might be jumping on socials to give our live thoughts when the full teams are announced. But at the moment, we've got that lovely extended bench because this is a Sunday game. At the moment, we know Sardi's out, which maybe is an issue with their small forwards. He's got that calf strain. Onto the extended bench is Chincotta, Kemp, O'Brien, and McGovern. Just what are your quick thoughts on the sort of team changes that are there? What do you like? What do you not like in Lockie?
Well, firstly, I want to go back to you with something. What's your percentage likelihood you think that Gov plays?
I would say high, going off Adrian Scoops over there.
Scoops, I don't want to.
He said
Adrian
on Twitter,
Scoops.
He did say, old Wodge, he did say that he was good to go. So I kind of think at the moment, knowing that he's been named in the team, big centre half back, they're confident, no worries here. And as well, knowing that now Sard had the tightness, but they've gone, nah, so strain, he's out. Yeah. Makes me think that McGovern's good. I think Pitternet would be the one I'd be more concerned about. So for Gov, mate, 99%. Pitt, I'll go 70%.
Okay, interesting. That's
I'm
cool.
confident.
My quick thoughts on the changes. I guess the few things we spoke about was, would Dow finally get a go? As we were hoping for some mid changes potentially. And I just don't think Plowman should be in this team, sadly. He's been our man for a while, but hopefully we see him as an out, I'm thinking, especially with a couple of the guys that could be ins.
Yeah, knowing that now Kemp is in there as well, you'd be hoping that Plowman definitely is not in that team. I guess it's an interesting one. I was very underwhelmed, I think, when I saw the team changes. And I don't know what I was looking for, because I wasn't expecting Dow as much as I was kind of thinking that it would be nice to have him in there. But and maybe we'll have more on this. Maybe I won't feel as underwhelmed when the official team changes are out, and maybe they drop someone ridiculous out of the team. But we needed run. We needed some run around the contest. That wasn't necessarily meaning that like an inside mid was coming out and then someone else was coming into that, but we needed something else. And I think for me, just Ed Kerno still being in there makes me very, I don't know what the word is to be nice there, because I have no issue with Ed Kerno coming in if we need an inside mid, but with Cripps, with Hewitt, with Kennedy, there's just so many of these guys in there that if we're playing Ed Kerno now as a forward, I just don't love that over maybe someone else. And that's probably what's got me a bit frustrated with the lackluster changes. That I don't know. And I think I wanted Binns in the squad, at least in contention for a debut, because he's someone that's been playing and applying his trade really well in the Magoos. And knowing we need some pace, knowing he could potentially be a versatile option there, I was excited. Now maybe I'm not so excited. But yeah, I don't know. It was very
fair enough.
Yeah, maybe I wanted a statement. Maybe I wanted to see a big name just straight out. I don't know. Maybe we'll get it.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah. What do they say?
It doesn't seem like we do this.
I wouldn't hold your breath. Maybe hold your breath, because I don't know. It just got that vibe about Hewitt. Is Hewitt going to come out again and have like 15 touches and not look like himself, like for the fourth week in a row, whatever? I don't know.
You'd hope not. So I guess, what would you have done, Lockie? If you were in charge, I'd love to know what changes you would have made. Because I know you're not a big changes man. You like to keep things pretty similar. We have lost, which allows you to make some changes.
You're right.
Knowing that I think I was someone that was looking for like 4 or potentially 5 changes this week, because you know me, I always love chopping and changing. I'd love to hear where you've had a few more days to relax. Who would have been your ins and outs this week?
It's like you're inside my head right now. That's exactly how I was going to preface if I was going to open this bit of the segment. You know exactly how I think about this kind of thing. I know how you do. And I've definitely changed my tone since Monday a bit. Obviously, the Garvin facade is great if he's healthy, has to happen. And then, as I said, I'd be taking Plowman out, and then it's between Kemp and Chincotta. For me, I would be choosing Chincotta out of those two to be coming into the 22, just because of the type of player. Not saying that Kemp hasn't been doing well in the VFL, but as more of a replacement for that halfback type, that feels right. So then I'm like, is there a way to get Kemp into this team too? And if I was making the changes, I probably wouldn't be doing that. But I'm looking at Josh Honey there.
Doesn't excite you, does it?
No, it doesn't. Does Kemp as the sub excite? Not sure. So give me your 7 changes.
Well, they've changed throughout the week, because if anyone did listen to the selection table on Pommy and Oz's YouTube channel, I laid out my changes bare. Then obviously Sard at that stage was an in, which has made me change things a little bit. And as much as I probably would have had Dow in for Hewitt, just because I don't think he's 100%. I don't know. The fact that they've named him again, like, maybe he's good to go. Maybe he's good to go. So let's leave that one there. I think I'd have 4 changes, 4 simple changes. I think McGovern comes straight in for Plowman for the change that was not meant to happen last week through the injury. Sard comes out. We need to replace him with pace. That's in the form of Chincotta, a like-for-like substitution.
Agreed.
I said I want more pace around the ball, so Ed Kerno comes out because we've kept everyone else in. We need that inside midfielder out for balance. I think Binns comes in because I like him as being a bit of that high half forward to kind of rotate with a Walsh, with a Chera, get someone around the stoppage, not necessarily in the coalface, that when we win it, handball out. Now we've got these guys running that C shape to just spread us away from the contest. And that's what I like about Binns. He has played that half forward role in his under 18 year and in his juniors. But then he can also play that attacking winger, which we do like, that he has played in the twos. And that kind of allows, again, more versatility. You then does Hollands get a couple of CBAs to add some pace around it? Do you throw Akers in case you just want to change something up? And I like the idea of whether you use it or you don't, you've got a possible rotation. And that's kind of where I was looking at this squad. And then the last one was I just don't love Honey being in there.
Yeah.
And at the moment, there's so many guys out of form in that forward line. Like, you can make the argument for Fisher to come out, which originally in my changes, I had Sauce coming out. But with so many other players now on side, it's just too many changes. And Fisher was the one that by the end of that selection table, I had gotten Fisher out of there. But I think Honey has to go out first for me. And into doing that, I don't think we have another forward to bring into the mix. I don't think I want to bring in another midfielder. So to shore up the fact that we didn't really replace Doherty at all, it was just kind of like rotate the other guys. I'm bringing in a Brody Kemp to play that dock role in that defense. And because of that, that allows your Cheras, it allows your your Kennedys not have to play as much halfback. They can stick to what they're doing. It allows you a bit of that rotation. That's what I would have done. And let me know your team changes, what you guys would have done in the comments if you're on YouTube. Remember, if you're enjoying the content while you're here, like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And if you're on the streaming services, chuck us a follow so you're always up to date with what's coming out. And then get us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as well, at Navy Blue Corner. Let us know your thoughts, because we always love to interact with you. The more notifications we get, the happier Lockie and I are, really. So they're my kind of changes. Let's kind of do a bit of prediction now. This will date itself pretty quickly, but at least it gives us our thoughts so you can kind of judge how we would have reacted to the team changes. So maybe look at it that way. We're keeping that optimistic glass half full on. Going off the extended bench, Lockie, who are the 4 you're keeping and who becomes the sub out of those guys?
And this is prediction, not what I would be doing. That's right.
Okay. Well, I want a bit of both.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, predict what you'd like, because then we can get our thoughts later.
I zoned out for a second because I was thinking, would they...
Off-brand.
Like, I know, normally I pay attention to every word you say. I don't know, would they do this to Chincotta? Like, whatever it is. Saturday Arvo would be like, he's playing. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really feel like it's going to happen, but I'm going to say that it is. So I guess from the extended bench, I'll say that it's Kennedy, Fisher, De Koning, and Chincotta. And yeah, I reckon they'll go Kemp as the sub out of that mix because it ain't going to be Plowman. Yeah, I predict it'll be Kemp. They'll reward him by giving him somewhat of a run.
Yep, I'm very similar, very very similar. I've gone the exact same on the bench: Kennedy, Fisher, De Koning, Chincotta. Because if you're looking at it, I think Honey doesn't fit the bill.
Yeah.
Plowman obviously not. You've got to keep the other guys potentially in there because, like, yeah, I mean, I'd be happy for Fisher to come out, to be honest, on his form, but it's just that issue of like, who the hell do we bring in for him?
Yeah,
and it's like him or Honey, and neither excite me. And then as far as my sub, it's kind of between Kemp, it's between O'Brien. I just feel like they're going to go O'Brien again. It feels like that's the easy option, a bit of pace around it. I don't love it. I don't really love any of these guys as the sub, which is why in my changes as well, like when I brought everyone out of that team, Fish was going to end up probably being my sub, weirdly. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's kind of it all there. But, I mean, yeah, let us know who you think is going to stay into that team. Yeah, who knows what is going to happen with this team. It's not exciting, but I'm hopefully we can get the best out of us like St. Kilda have been. But yeah, that's going to kind of wrap up that segment. What's next for us, Lockie?
I think it's time we get the classic Ian hype up. Like, this is where you say, not how could we win it, but how are we going to win it? What are the keys, mate? What
are the keys to winning? I feel like there is a sting in that to do with some jingling keys. Where we've got to do something there. We've got to do something. I'm excited for that.
We really need to up the production quality of this thing. What are we doing? We're 4 years in.
Don't you worry. I reckon by the end of this year, there's not going to be like a 5 minutes on this without some sort of sting coming into it. So I'm very excited for almost everything to have a little bit of an intro. But yeah, how are we going to do it? It's almost what I've been saying every single week. It starts in that midfield. All the pressure, all the talk this week has been about how slow we are. They're no good. They can't get their hands on the football. It's time to respond. Win the clearances. It's half the bloody battle. And I think if we work harder on the spread, get the right mix in there at the time, get that tackle pressure and intensity from the start, it's just going to alleviate so many of the issues. Because as I've said, with St. Kilda's quick style of football, they want to get it into their dynamic smalls. They don't rely on their key talls, which means they need really good, efficient entry. So if our mids work better, they're working harder not to allow these no-pressure forward entries like we saw against Adelaide. It makes our defenders' lives so much easier knowing we've got a few outs in there. It's forcing the Saints to bomb it in under pressure. What does that mean? Gov's going to mop it up. Their talls aren't that good. We can absolutely finish it for them. And I think that's kind of the key to it. It all stems around that midfield. And that'll hopefully have that flow-on effect. And, yeah, it's getting pace around it, whether that's Walsh, Chera, Fisher, Holland. I just want them on that outside. But again, mids need to win it clean. No fumbles. Get the hands out. And that's just going to solve the problems. It's going to solve our ball movement and inside 50s because if we're fumbling, handballing it to the goal and our rider's under pressure, can you expect him to have a good inside 50? I don't think he can, Lockie. I don't think he can.
It's almost like it's all connected. This is what we're realizing. There's nothing in isolation. It's all one big thing. I'm feeling very philosophical today, mate. I'm feeling calm.
We should write a book. Maybe we'll start our meditation app. Maybe that's what needs to happen after this. But the last thing that I wanted to say that is another key that stems from that, because we're all interconnected. It's the circle of life, Lockie, and it is our ball movement and transition. Because if we're efficient and we're clean, we're moving the ball, things are going to work out well for us. A key stat that I saw that came across this week is about connection inside 50. And currently our retention rate inside 50 rates 11th. So we're getting rid of the ball. We're not keeping it. We're not being good when we have ball in hand. And also our mark rate per inside 50, every time we're getting it in, ranks 14th in the AFL. That's poor. It's not good enough. So if we sort this out, we've got the two best bloody key forwards in the game, mate. You want Harry to absolutely dominate, get back to his house. You're talking about keys to winning. I'm talking about the keys to Harry's house. And that is connection inside 50. Oh, no. It's getting the ball in clean. It's what we want to see. How's that? That's not bad. That's on the fly, too. That wasn't even written down. That's what you're going to get from me now on.
I'm in production mode. I feel like there's a Ian's Rogue stat of the week segment or something like that, because that's Rogue and I'm here for it.
And we're open, as always, to hear some suggestions. If anyone has an idea, I mean, it saves up me having to think of anything firstly. I'll be very, very transparent around that. But if someone has any ideas for the pod, I'm always going to listen to it.
Anyone wants to
jump on. Someone wants to replace me anytime soon. Jump on.
Please, get this off our plate. We just want to enjoy the footy.
Yeah, I think talking about ball movement as well, like trying to really emphasize the importance of this is that St Kilda, we've talked about their defense, and look, they stifled Collingwood's ball movement quite a lot last week. They didn't get the W, but Collingwood weren't allowed to play the expansive, fast football as much as they have in recent weeks. And the Pies move it better than us. They move it fast. With Gov back in, hopefully that makes things a little bit better. But that is where the key is for us. Midfield win it. Faster, better, cleaner ball movement. We do those things. Oh. It's such an easy win because, mate.
Dub.
I'm sick of Ross. I'm sick of the talk about St Kilda. I'm sick of, mate, they're about to lose the game and he's in the coach's box smiling, getting all happy.
Go off.
I want to wipe that smile off Ross's face. He's out there saying, we'll just play our way. We'll win. We'll get whoever on Cripper. Doesn't bloody matter. He wanted to come to us. And guess what? We said, Ross, you just got to tell us why you want to be here. And he said, no, you know it. Oh, I can't. I'm not going to come in here with the PowerPoint bloody presentations. We didn't want him. We don't want someone that isn't willing to put the work in. That's why we got Big Vossi. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're going to beat the bloody Saints this week. We will be back here. That's going to wrap this episode up because we're going to be back here next week after a big win. Lockie, do you have anything else to add before we roll this out? Roll this train out here.
I do, actually. Okay. And I don't know where this fits in the run sheet because it works so well going into this and your little rant and how you pump everybody up. But are we doing our tips? The Carlton cheers squad relying on us to put our tips in.
Mate,
and I'm sure I tipped 9 last week.
I'm sure you did. So this is on the fly because guess what, Lockie? You know I'm very good at my preparedness. Is that a word? Maybe it's not.
Sure.
But I do not have the footy tips up. I do not have them in the run sheet. And maybe that's where, when I sent you the run sheet with a lot of time in advance here, I was like, tell me if I'm missing anything. And you haven't. Here we go. I'll have to log in. This is great for the listeners. But we're keeping it in because we're raw here. And let's see what we did last week. 6 out of 9 last week. We've gone down. I'm seeing a big red arrow pointing down saying that we've gone negative in our rankings. We are 173rd out of 309.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's not doing well. But
no, it's not good.
What can we do here? What can we do this week to turn this around? What can we do?
Well, that means it's your week. I took over last week, right? And the week before it was Big Marcos. So let me read these out to you. Listeners, let's see. What's the benchmark? You got to go 7 and up, 8 and up.
I think you've got to beat the person's tips the week before.
Okay.
If it's even,
to keep it going.
Switches regardless. You've got to beat it to stay on. Yeah,
I love that. All right, this is how can you rise to the top? Do you think from here, or are we too far gone? No, we can still win it. I back us. All right. Firstly, the Bulldogs traveling over to Perth. Dockers.
Oh no. Oh god, this is a shit one to start off with. I think both teams are not that great. I think the Doggies are better. Oh, it's hard to tip against Freo at home. It just always is.
Mate.
But Freo sucks, so we're going Freo to bounce back, to sort it out for once, and we'll go my favorite margin of 11 points. Nice little close one there. Get it over the line.
We always run that back. God, we got 3 bangers on Saturday. Port, West Coast, Adelaide Oval.
That is Port, thank you. A blockbuster. This is a grim Saturday. Thank God, mate. This is why we've got to get to the driving range. We've got to play some golf on Saturday because I'm not going to be staying home watching this. Maybe I'll watch the 7:25 game, but during the day, I want to be out and about in that sunshine.
Look at this fixture. Thank God they didn't put us at the MCG with all these blockbusters on Saturday and Sunday. What on earth is going on here? There must be something happening there. Giants, Lions.
Brisbane aren't good away from home, but you've got to back them in surely against the Giants to get it done. Big Gunston back in.
Cool. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree with you because I want this to be,
here we go.
I don't want to own this when we get 3. Cats, Swans at the Cattery.
Ooh. Yeah, it's at the Cattery, so I think you got to back Geelong there. If it was it anywhere else, I really do like the Swans. I think they are, if I was to say top 4 teams right now, the Swannies are in it. It's just, they don't lose down there. Oh, I'm seeing 275 here, so we have got different agencies, clearly.
Okay, there you go.
Interesting. Get your value where Lockie is, because it's clearly better than what I'm copping.
Yep, no free advertising around here.
No,
so who are you going? You going Cats?
Going Cats.
Okay, and then Hawthorn, Adelaide, Tasmania.
See, the Tassie factor makes you think Hawthorn, but I think they're shithouse. So let's back in the Crom, unfortunately.
Our game. This is where you tell me if you're actually feeling confident. Have you ever tipped against Carlton? Are you one of those guys?
I used to be, garbage, so it was easy, but I've fluctuated.
Yeah,
I used to be like you have to tip your team. And then it was almost, I was scared to tip us because I felt like that was some bad karma. So I started just tipping like against us rather than it even being I think we're going to lose. I just don't want to put it in the universe. I'll say the other team's going to win. That way we win. But I'm going Carlton this week. You have to back us in. A bounce back performance at Marvel. No better way to do it for your Sunday afternoon.
Hugh Greenwood Cup, Suns, North.
I'm backing in the Suns, weirdly. I feel like North are a better team, but I don't know. There's something about Gold Coast in Gold Coast. They beat Geelong. Go on. Go the Matty Rouse.
Look, I don't blame you for not having a whole lot of faith in North. That's okay. And your man Jai is out as well. So,
no.
Monday, Melbourne, Richmond. What a game.
Yeah, definitely Melbourne. Don't need to say much else on that. Richmond are cooked. Let's go. Let's go to the Anzac Day clash. A Tuesday. How about this? Day off work on it. Yeah. Is everyone taking leave on Monday? Is that what we're all doing? So we can then get the long weekend? Because I haven't done it yet, and I feel like I've missed a trick. But I feel like Monday now, I'm going to get paid, and it's going to be a breezy day. Because who's going to do any work? No one got Tuesday off, huh?
Mate, we're hitting the town after the footy on Sunday. And going on Monday and Tuesday. That's on my radar. Who are you backing?
I think it's Collingwood. I just still don't believe in Essendon. Not like I ever think I will, but I don't know. Collingwood are playing too well at the moment. Yeah, I think it finally might actually be. It might finally be a good game of footy because Essendon are in form. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's a draw.
You don't remember now I'm being the guy. You don't remember last year's Anzac Day, mate?
I do. I don't want to be reminded of who was kicking the goals because then that triggers some other thoughts, unfortunately. But that is the tips. I'll submit them. Make sure they're in. And they're in. They are locked in because I'll be back here doing them next week because
that's a solid 3 out of 9, I reckon. That's what I'm predicting.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts. Did you have many that you disagreed with? You have to tell me which ones. Were there a lot?
I am not disclosing. If you regardless, 9, then next week I'll be saying that we were aligned.
Regardless, if I don't do well, you get on. So whether you agreed with me or not, you get the chance. Yeah. I just want to know if you're feeling confident about me.
No, I'm not disclosing that. Oh my God. Is this what? Hold on. Hold
What's
the
happening?
phone. We're an hour into this podcast.
Yep.
Is it Cherry's 100th game?
Is it?
That's what the AFL website says.
Well, gee, it's good that the Carlton media team are getting around this because they didn't get around Fishers. I had to question that on the podcast.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
There's no way.
100th game. Wow. I mean, that is good to see anyone who's been clocking this one. Adam Chera. Let's look up on the stats here. Gee, the first photo that comes up is him with a ripped jumper. So he's just getting the bloody
raw
text
today,
out.
Aren't we?
Oh, we normally are. Where is this on the website? How hard is it to find how many games have been played? This is ridiculous. He's played 99 games. It will be his 100th game.
Oh, my God.
Wow. What's your favorite Adam Chera moment?
Thanks for putting me on the spot. I mean, my favorite moment of every single player on this list was involved in round 1 last year. Yeah, so I'll say his first goal.
I would too. It was either that or I think he may have kicked a goal against St Kilda the first time we ever saw him, or there was definitely a nice passage of play where I was like, "Oh, we've got a superstar." So I think it's one of those. I think. Oh, actually, I'll wind it back. My favorite Adam Chera moment may be a listener of this show's favorite Adam Chera moment. Maybe it's moments because I can't find a specific one, but it's the trademark, wins the ball, dives forward, gets himself an in-the-back free kick. Anytime he does that is my favorite thing from Adam Chera. But, I mean, yeah. Look, now he's played 100 games. He's starting to get into that experienced mold, knows what he's doing. I think, unfortunately, it's been a bit underwhelming so far. We haven't probably got the best out of him, but I'm hoping for 100 more beautiful games that now this is the moment. He's got the runs on the board. We're going to be seeing the best of Adam Chera, and we're going to see it this Sunday afternoon against the Sainers. Yes, we are going to win this one. All the pessimism going into this, throw it out the window. The Blues are back. Please get a response and show us that we can answer all the questions, that the doubters, including ourselves, we're all wrong, and that we are a good football team. But that's going to wrap this episode up. We are keen to be back with our review of this game after the weekend. Thanks for listening, Baggers. Go the Blues. See you guys next time.